Muslims will often follow a modern myth and claim that Jesus' death on the cross and his resurrection were taken from previous religious figures such as Mithra and Osiris and Horus, including others, suggesting that the Christian faith within 2 decades was mixed with other religions and hence corrupted early, really early. Of course, if evidence supports your case, Muslim, that early Christians actually combined various religions and mixed it within the Christian faith, then you have a case and Christianity will be exposed. Disciples of Jesus, the apostles, contrary to the Bible and the Qur'an, would have failed their task, and this early Jesus community became a corrupted religion from the onset, from the very beginning. Now, that already brings up difficulties for Islam. We could also debunk that claim. Obviously, Mithra and Osiris and Horus were not crucified nor resurrected, and their narrative does not resemble the life or biography of Jesus. Justin Martyr does point out a list of similarities. There were indeed cases of similarities in some early traditions of his time, such as virgin births. However, we need to remember that these gods of the Greeks were not comparative to God the Creator. They were very, very human gods who roamed around the earth and more or less correctly raped women. I don't think virgin birth is the accurate wording here. Justin Martyr also points out that some of these gods or figures, they died, but they didn't die like Jesus on the cross for our sins. But here's the point. If you're going to follow this modern myth, which is primarily promoted by atheists and critics of religion and the supernatural, it would be dishonest to cherry-pick the points out being claimed just because it benefits your religion. Points such as Jesus being the Son of God or Jesus being crucified or resurrected. If these ideas were borrowed from these previous religious figures such as Mithra and Horus and Osiris and others, you need to be consistent and take the whole package. That is, if you want to promote this modern popular myth. Because according to the modern myth, Mithra and Horus were born by virgins. Jesus was born by a virgin. So obviously, if you're going to follow the modern myth of these atheists, holding on to the claim that the authors of Matthew and Luke borrowed this idea, then you have a problem. Because in the Quran, Jesus is born by a virgin. So let's be honest and logical. If early Christians borrowed this idea from the pagan religions, it would be justified to say that the author of the Quran borrowed the idea from early Christians. So where do you stand now? There were also some pre-Christian figures who ascended to heaven. Justin Martyr, the early Christian, is clear about that. And of course, Jesus in the Bible, he ascends to heaven. But so does Jesus in the Quran. So if Christians adopted these sources of the ascension, clearly the author of the Quran simply followed the Christian sources. However, we do know of ascensions in the Bible from events before Jesus ever arrived on the scene, like Enoch and Elijah. Hence, we are justified saying that this is not merely an external source. It is rather interesting, however, that when you read Justin Martyr, some of these figures, at least one of them, Bellerophon, if I pronounce his name correctly, he ascends to heaven on the horse Pegasus. Now, you don't really find any similarity of that in relation to Jesus, but you do find the similarity in the case of Muhammad, in which, according to Islamic sources, he did ascend to heaven on a similar creature. So the question remains, is this story of Muhammad ascending to heaven a copycat of earlier religions? Well, I will leave you to figure that one out. God bless you. May he guide us to the truth, and may we be open, follow his guidance and the evidence wherever that leads us. God bless.